everybody. It's Romania Black. Happy birthday to the king. It's Reigen birthday month, bitches. So yeah, as I'm recording this is going to come out the week before Halloween on Patreon. I should not have ate that fudge before I recorded this. And it's going to come out this Saturday right before Halloween on YouTube. So I'm probably going to wear this for next week's video as well, because I got to support Reigen. Reigen wasn't in last week's episode, so not only was his birthday the 10th of October, but he wasn't in last week's video, so I feel like I need to support him. So happy Halloween. I am Reigen Arataka, and I'm taking this crown off. So no more product placement for the BK. But yeah, so we're on episode 10 of Mob Psycho. I'm pretty freaking excited about it because we only have 3 episodes left of season 1. I'm not sad because I'm so hyped for season 2 and season 3, but in this 12 episode seasons go by really quickly. They just do all the time. They never last long enough, right? You don't get like the full effect of a 24 episode season. So it's okay though. But I got a few little comments. I took a long break between episode 9 and this episode. A big break, like 10 days. I had other series I was recording for fall. I was out of town for a weekend. I just had lots of stuff. And I was waiting mainly for the rest of my costume to come in so I could be Reigen. That was actually honestly the main reason why I didn't record until now. So, but I'm still a little bit ahead of schedule, but this series, how can you not binge, right? So I've got some things to talk about before we start, but I do want to bring up the Reigen thirst updates before we tie into this. Okay, I've collected these off of the Discord. I'll be honest, I about laughed so hard that I maybe almost snorted up my coffee because this was shared on the Discord a while ago. And it's a picture of Mob being hugged by Reigen, but I was on the Discord and I wasn't totally paying attention to the channel when I clicked on it. I was just like, oh yeah. I thought it was Erwin and Levi for Attack on Titan. And I was like, oh, that's a great Uri art. And then I was like, oh, that's not Uri. No. Abort mission. I was like having a moment. So I had to include that on here first of all, but they make Reigen look really handsome there. In fact, all of these artwork, it's Reigen's birthday, so we need to celebrate with the thirst update. This was shared. They would not let me see on Discord the entire image because supposedly there are some characters that are spoiled on there that I have not seen yet, so I don't know the full image, but Reigen as a dog boy with the leash and the collar, it's like the animators, y'all know what you're doing, right? They know what they're doing. Of course they do. And then there's this Reigen artwork where he looks like a wizard. Like it's him in his season 3 official outfit, only he looks like a conductor or a wizard. I'll be honest, there is a cardboard cutout somewhere of Reigen in that season 3 official suit. I want it. If y'all, I'm not asking you to send me it in the mail. I have a P.O. box. I'm not asking you to send me though. But if you can point me in the direction of a cardboard cutout of that, I feel like he needs to be on the back wall. I can move that one picture and we can have Reigen behind us at all time watching our backs. I feel like that needs to happen. So if you come across a season 3 Reigen in that plaid suit cardboard cutout and you just feel ever so inclined to mail it to me or show me where it is and I'll buy it from you, you know, that'd be great because I feel like we need that, right? So I thought that was really good. And then of course, Dimple-sama. Since Dimple-sama has possessed the guard, I've been told, like the truck and some others were telling me in the Discord that there's lots and lots of fan art of Dimple-sama while he's possessing the guard. But this one here of Reigen with the cigarette and his hair looking especially blonde and Dimple like with his hand around his shoulder looking all like grouchy and needy. I'm here for it. I didn't know that Dimple-sama and Reigen were a pair, but I'm here for it. Let's do this. And then that kind of ties along with this one here, where we have some human Dimple fan art, and it's Reigen with the newspaper, but he has a leash, and on the leash is Dimple-sama, and then Mob's just sitting there like, doesn't get it. So I thought that was great too. And then with this also, I liked, the thirst not only extends to Reigen when he's in human form, but look at this shit. Look at Reigen there. He's a cat, right? Or like a little dog, like a little tiny, not even a Pomeranian. Like, I love Terror with the poodle mob hair, or the poodle like giant bouffant there. That's great. And Dimple is the Doberman. Ritsu's like the little barky mutt. But Reigen why did they make him look cheeky even as a cat? I don't understand, right? So there are those, and then it would not be a Reigen Thirst update if we did not show some official artwork from the mangaka himself, from one himself, right? And so I love that. I love that this image here is like, it's one saying, hey guys, what emotion does this image make you feel? And it's an image of Reigen looking very much like his manga self. And Bones is like, lust. And one is like, anybody else? I just feel like one, the mangaka is like, why? But apparently this was the most recent fan art of Reigen for his birthday that the mangaka released on his actual birthday. My favorite part about this is not the photorealistic cake that Reigen is holding. It's not that he's just in a giant pile of all these cards and everything for him. It's not even that he's surrounded by presents and has this like blissful face on him. It's the fact that Reigen is 2D and all the presents are 3D. It's like the mangaka won't even give him the dignity of a third dimension. It's great. So yeah, so happy birthday, Reigen. Happy birthday month. I don't remember which episode it was. I guess it would have been episode... it would have been actually episode 8 on Patreon, episode 7 that was right before his birthday. So how about that? But I love that so much. So yeah, episode 10 is what we're on. We got 3 episodes left. We basically have Ritsu trying to get Kaido rescued to bust him out along with the other precocious would-be psychic children. And then Teru and Mob and Dimple have infiltrated trying to find Ritsu. And they've recently, Mob just got fed up with the guy that kidnapped Ritsu and took him out. So... And we mysteriously have not met the final member of Claw. We've met the leader, the one, the gas mask, Itsuguro, is it right? Itsuguro. But we've not met the last member. Curious that. I'm sure he'll be no problem at all. But yeah, so I've got some caramel bourbon fudge. Sound like something Ray would eat. And then some coffee. Because he's in his late 20s, early 30s, and needs to stay up. So yeah, let's do this. I'm very excited for episode 10. I do have a few comments though. This has been a long intro, but it's Reigen's birthday. How could it not be? Viprax Gamer talked about how Teru had to hold on to his wig with his own hands instead of using his psychic powers in episode 7. I was like, that's actually hilarious. That he used his own hands instead of his psychic powers. It was just like a reflex, right? I thought that was really funny. Banana7 talked about how the cast of Mob Psycho, they not only voice the main characters, but like Mob's VA, Reigen's VA, they also voice side characters too in the show. And I was like, you can just tell that Mob Psycho is a labor of love with Bones, that they love this show so much. And the fact that they reuse voice actors for the little side characters almost makes it even more endearing. And I love it even more. So there's that. And then finally, Zilla Safe was talking about how, with episode 7, a cactus is such a good representation for Ritsu. Because he's soft on the inside, like we talked about when we very first met Ritsu. He's soft on the inside, he's got all these little soft edges, but then he has all these like prickly pines, like to keep people away, to keep people at their distance, right? I loved that a lot. So yeah. But y'all, it's Reigen's birthday. Let's do this. It's not technically his birthday anymore, but it's birthday month. So Reigen deserves a whole month for his birthday. But we're going to start episode 10 of Mob Psycho 100. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Is Reigen Arataka in fact the king of the psychics? What? That was clearly him. That was clearly him. Y'all. I'm probably not gonna wait to watch the next episode. I'm probably not gonna wait to watch the next episode. I don't think I can. I don't think I can wait to watch the next episode. I was planning on wearing this suit for both episodes 10 and 11 anyway, because this is going to come out on YouTube on Halloween, and next week is going to come out on Patreon on Halloween. So I was like, I'll just wear Reigen's suit for both episodes 10 and 11 because it'll, thematically be for Halloween and I can be for both. Well, now I have to, because if Reigen is the leader of Claw, this powerful group of psychics trying to take over the world, wait, what? Is this the biggest con of the century? Oh my god, what if it is? What if it is? What if all of this is a giant con? Ah, okay. Ooh, but, okay. There's a lot of implications of that. All right. Okay, yeah, okay. Oh my god, we need to go through. I wanted to bring Whiteboard Coon out for mainly one reason. And that is because, as it like leans on me, the main reason I wanted to bring Whiteboard Coon out is because I feel like in this episode, everybody is scattered everywhere, and I wanted to keep track of where people were. And I was like, I need to write down, where is everybody? Like, let's go through this, right? But I'm kind of floored. Like, I was saying and talking in the Discord this whole time, I was like, man, I love Reigen's character, but I feel like we haven't seen him hardly at all this season. And we got him like at the very beginning, and then we didn't see him, and everybody in the Discord was like, yeah, I forget how little he's in this first season. And I was like, right? What a bait. It was intentional. If he's the leader of Claw, and next episode is the penultimate episode of the season, the mangaka was just like, yeah, you forget about Reigen, right? Yeah, just forget about him for now. Oh my god. So yeah, and there was a conversation happening when they were breaking in to rescue Kaido, the ones that had not been awakened. There was a conversation happening, and I was trying to pay attention, but also comment on Ritsu and them rescuing him. So I didn't get to all of it. So I want to go back and see that conversation. But oh my god! And then Sho. So yeah, that image I showed you all earlier. When I was going through it, I was like, I don't know who this one other dog with the red hair is. I don't know. It's Sho! So, yeah, didn't even know who that character was, and now I do. So, Sho. Yeah, he's not a Scar yet, but why is he there? What's his story? How did he end up there? He seems like along the same lines as, like, Ritsu, or not Ritsu, but Teru. He seems like he's kind of like a Teru-type character, only whereas Teru resisted the Claw division, it seems like Sho went along with them. But why? So, there's mystery with his character. Okay, because he's not one of the upper echelon yet, right? So that's interesting. But yeah, this episode called The Heinous Aura Mastermind. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so the awakened to shine. Huh. So, okay. So we have this idea, and I'm going to put up here, we have Claw, right? I'm going to put Claw in here. So we have Claw, right? And then we have the idea that there are normals, who are people without psychic powers. They're just normals, okay? And then you have the awakened that through pain, their power is formed or brought out. And then you have the naturals. And the naturals have always had psychic powers. I would argue that Ritsu isn't awakened. I would argue that Ritsu isn't awakened because his powers just kind of manifested after he went through all this psychological and mental pain. It's not physical, like they've been awakening and through physical means, right? Like physically making them suffer. But I would say Ritsu went through like a psychological pain and emotional trauma, and that awakened his powers. And then Mob is obviously a natural. So I don't think Reigen has psychic powers, though, because Mob said he couldn't sense anything from him. So it makes me think that, like, Reigen is a normal. But then why that he's a normal? Okay, but then how did he get to be the leader of Claw? So I wonder if Reigen maybe took over from somebody or got the corporation from somebody and then, like, wormed his way into it and was like... The only thing I can think of is that maybe Reigen somehow conned his way into becoming the leader of this organization. He's fooled Mob all this time, right? Or Mob's gone along with it. But Reigen has somehow fooled this entire organization to thinking he has these crazy psychic powers. And then maybe this is Reigen's way of, like, keeping them in check. Because honestly, for them having all the resources and manpower that they have, They've not taken over the world. They could have done something at this point, but they haven't, and they clearly have been doing this for a while, right? So what gives? My theory would be that Reigen has been keeping them all in check, being like, oh no, this is part of the plan. We just keep going and doing this, and then eventually we'll take over the world. And he's just stalling for time, right? Endlessly, right? So maybe that's been it the whole time. But if Reigen turns out to be like a heel turned bad guy, I just don't see it. It's this mangaka. This mangaka likes to make us think that one thing is going to happen and then completely subvert it. What if Reigen is not even the actual boss, but he just kind of looks like him and he's tricked everybody into thinking he's the boss? And he's gone there to save Mob. I really like the idea that Reigen went there to save Mob. That he knew Mob was in trouble. He tried to call him earlier, right? I feel like that was the phone call that tried to happen. He tried to call him. And he did, and because Suchi was like, you need to answer your phone, and Mob was like, mm-mm. And so I feel like maybe Reigen did try to call him, because he said he was late for work, right? So did he call Mob? I think he did. And then he's like, whenever Mob didn't pick up, he's like, this is weird. So maybe he tried to retrace his footsteps and realized where they were going, and then realized, oh shit, they went to Claw? I can't wait for next episode. It's just not going to happen. I'm not going to watch it tonight, but tomorrow night probably. While the suit's fresh, right? But yeah, oh my gosh. So I love how self-aware this show is, where the leader of them is like, it's now time for you to shine and show them how powerful we can be. And they're like, yeah! And then we zoom out from them, and then she's like, although, and they're like, yeah! And then Gucci's like, yeah, you probably don't stand a chance. I like how self-aware they all are. Like, this is probably not going to work. It's really funny, right? And God, that OP. So I'm trying to think, anything there. And so then we have like, yeah, Claw and everything, but we've met all the members of it. Oh my gosh. And then Mob's going to head to the heart, right? And then we have Reigen. Interesting. So yeah, so let's go through this episode. The Heinous Aura Mastermind. The Heinous Aura obviously being Claw, but also Show. Okay, so this conversation, I wanted to go back and see what they were saying in it. So it said all the scars were sent after the intruders as they're playing Jenga. And said this must be a huge deal. He says, how long are we going to have to be babysitters or errand boys? Okay. So we had the idea that we had the normal guards who are the ones that have not awakened. And I like that Kaido's just sitting there. Kaido is obviously communicating with his brother right now, telepathically, but doesn't say anything, right? So they lament that they are errand boys and that they're not allowed to go after the intruders, right? They're stuck sitting there, right? They had to babysit Kaido. And Kaido's just like, no, like, let it go, man. Those of us who don't awaken will be stuck at the bottom. Okay, eventually we'll end up subordinates of kids like him. And they got, like, the Pocky sticks, and they're just playing, like, Go Fish. And so, like, speaking of kids, did you hear about the kid who was sent from HQ as a temp? Okay! So, the kid from HQ that is a temp, I'm assuming is Show. So he's a temp. He's just there, just job shadowing. Oh my God. He's like Mob. He's job shadowing Claw. And they're like, he's an awakened child created by HQ. Apparently. So they think that that he's not a natural. He's awakened by HQ. Well, I'm like, how is Reigen the boss, and how did he give them all scars? What? If Reigen turns out to be psychic, like, throughout all of this, wait, what? But how would he not? And they're like, what? Are you saying that a normal kid survived that insane awakening experiment? Okay. And they're like, man, I want to be an experiment at HQ too. And he's like, don't think about it, you'll die. I love this one guy is like over drinking sake in the corner, like giving his like forewarning. He's like, does much worse things than destroy your mind. Like, Jin-san, you know about HQ? I love there's like this inner lore amongst the guards that's going on while all this rescuing's happening. It's kind of amazing. There's like all this inner lore, like just stories. People say it's so painful that people have even died. What? 20 years as a lackey in this organization. Like, he's been there for 20 years. I've learned what HQ is bad news. So yeah, so apparently this claw division has been going on for over 20 years. So, but Reigen's like only in his 20s, so something's up. Something is that the mangaka is making us be like, Reigen's the boss of Claw? What? But then there has to be a bait and switch in there somewhere. There has to be. Because, yeah, this organization's been going on for a while, but Reigen's barely old enough to have been a leader for long. So, what is the deal? What? Something's happening. And then they're like, where are you guys going? I like that Gin-san's just like over in the corner drinking sake while they're playing. Like, you just like pay him no mind. And Ritsu's like, oh, have we been busted? I like that Ritsu's hair is kind of fallen down. He looks more, he looks less edgy and more soft again. I like it, like a little cactus. And he's like, I can't believe they'd lose to some kids. And then I love how serious this moment is where Gin-san's like, don't even think about it. And he's like, it's not even 1 versus 10. It's 0 versus 10. I'm like, oh my God. It's the way the mangaka has this so serious. It's ridiculous. He's like, go. Leave. And Ritsu's like, okay, yeah, thanks. I love how just the mangaka makes this the most melodramatic, overly done moment. And then Ritsu's like, okay, thanks, bye. It's so good. We won't get stabbed in the back, will we? Like, they're like, Jin-san, why? It's like, shut up, you youngins! You don't know anything! A powerful esper and a normal human are like night and day. The difference in strength is astronomical. It's not 1 versus 10, it's 0 versus 10. There's no way you can win. So then what about Reigen? And they say, if only I'd awaken. And they're like, if you don't awaken the first time, there's no hope. So, So apparently part of the lore is that you must awaken the first time, or it's not gonna work. So curious indeed. And so they're like, seriously? And he's like, are we gonna be lackeys forever? And he's like, don't you get it? And so then he's kind of twisted around, right? He twisted around and says, yeah, we may be lackeys for the rest of our days, but Claw is going to reign over the world. And then from there, even us lackeys will be rewarded. We just have to wait and endure. And they're like, and he's like, until the day of the revolution. And they're all like, oh my gosh, yay! I'm like, this mangaka, oh my gosh, I cannot. And leave it to Dimple-san to be like, ora, 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 ora. I'm like, oh my God, yes, please. Dimple, I officially love Dimple in this form. I'm going to miss it when I have a feeling he's not going to be in this form forever, though, because he's just like a security guard. And he's already out of the security guard's body and in the vase, right? So I am sad because I came to really like this human body for Dimple. It was a good choice. It definitely suited his style, right? But so, yeah, I love that he takes out the small fry, right? And that look on his face, oh my God. When he's like, I'm telling you to let you... He's like, small fries. Oh my God, yes! He's so devilish. I love it. But then, yeah, he takes them all out. And then, I love this one guy shows back up. And he's like, what is this room? He's like, it's the awakening room. It's where people get their powers released through pain. Like, he just shows up for exposition. He just, like, before he collapses into the pile of bodies, he just shows up to give Dimple some exposition and then he pieces out. It's like, the mangaka is very much aware of what they are doing. And it's kind of amazing, right? The experiments room. And it's kind of grisly. He's like, it looks like torture devices. And they said, experiencing pain is one way to be awakened. And there's like blood all over it. And Dimple says they're not far off. So Dimple acknowledges that there's something akin to pain that awakens. May not be physical pain, but because we saw that with Ritsu, that it could be something psychological. But he's like, well, they're not too far off. He's like, I'm not telling them the secrets. And he's like, but after going through all that pain, you guys, all you can do is momentarily paralyze someone as a group. The world really does favor the gifted. And so he's like, you guys should go join the Body Improvement Club. And that's when this guy shows up. His voice acting sounds familiar, right? He has a very familiar voice. And his fashion and gestures are so creepy. He has all real monsters lips. That's what I'm thinking of. I was like, why are his lips drawn that way? They're so dry and crackly. They remind me of something. But yeah, they remind me of the Nickelodeon show from like the early 2000s. It was called Real Monsters. And they just have the crackly, like, is it Oblina? I think it was Oblina. She has like the big crackly lips. Ugh, that's what he reminds me of. Matsuo. Okay, so we need to keep track of where everybody is, right? So Matsuo, we'll put them here. Matsuo is basically a Pokemon trainer. He's basically a Pokemon trainer, and he has Dimple. Dimple in a jar. He has Dimple in a jar. If we're following the 3-act structure, then this is definitely building up to our climax in the next episode. And I feel like the next episode is going to be the climax of the season, and then the final episode is going to be like the fall after the climax. I feel like that's what they're setting up to be, right? Which would make sense with this show. But I like that our characters are at their lowest points at this point in the season. Dimple's stuck in a jar. Ritsu's passed out. Teru is having second thoughts about Mob being as powerful as he thought he was. Mob's faced rejection and is now at his weakest point too. So they're all at their lowest points, right? And in walks Reigen. I'm still stunned. He's like, I'll take good care of you. Yeah, and Dimple's like, sure, you want to own me? And he's like, oh shit. He's actually saying, he's like, someone dangerous is here. Oh my god, and yeah, he has the aura and like all the jars of ghosts and stuff around him. It's actually kind of ridiculous. I'm so glad you all did not spoil me on Ritsu on Reigen possibly being the leader of this group. And I like that. I like Teru's like, what? Huh? Teru is just, here's the thing about Teru though. He's like, you didn't find him in your cage, don't mess with me. And he's like, I told you to bring them all right here. So here's the thing we find out about, I'm going to put these guys up here, right? So we find out like Dimple has a moment of power where things all work out for him. But then it all, I'm going to back whiteboard Kun up. Moment of power, but then it all goes away, right? And we find out from Teru that he acts bossy, but he's not about it. That whole thing that he did with the gang and everything back from episode 4 and 5, that was all a facade. It was a persona. He was just acting like that because he said that weak people respond to it. So that's not the real Teru. So I kind of love that. I love that the Teru that we got in episode 4 that was all like Bakugo and like barking like a wild chihuahua, that's not really him. He's not like that, truly, underneath it all. It's just an act to get people to do what he wants. It seems to work well on weaklings. And then I love that Teru's like, nope. And I love that the one guy tries to light a fire and it barely does anything. But then the other pyrotechnic guy actually comes and he's like, man, everyone in Claw seems a bit like weak. And that's when the Hisoka meets like, oh, what did I say in the last episode? Oh, it's Arthur from Banana Fish. Where he's like, I'll turn you into ash. Womp, womp, womp. And Teru's like, well, this is actually kind of a challenge. But then he manages to like he took all of the flames and everything and just I wondered if he pushed the barrier outwards and like, disarm it. But he ends up kind of doing that and just like reverses it and flips the barrier onto himself and traps him within it and burns him alive. Teru, no qualms. Teru's like, you tried to kill me, so have at it. Have fun tasting your own medicine. I really thought the wig would burn off. I thought he'd lose the wig. I thought that wig was going to burn off and Teru was going to have like a field day. I was waiting for it. I was like, it's going to happen. And then it doesn't. I was honestly really surprised. I was like, I thought that Teru was going to just, you know, not have anything to do with it. But here we are. Yeah. And so he's like, you're the amateur. And then, yeah, he just completely turns it on him. It's great. And I love Teru being like, well, you ruined my outfit, my threads. You completely charred them. I'm still amazed that wig managed to make it. But yeah, he's like, and he just like flicks him away. Like as soon as he goes out, I'm like, oh my God, Teru. He's like, I win. He's very much like the cat from Person Who Grew. He's like, I win. But then Sakurai shows up. Sakurai shows up along with the one that can like make apparently copies of himself, right? Like Sakurai shows up with the sword and it's like, he's like, you're stronger than I. This was a pretty badass line though, where he's like, you're stronger than I was as a child, but I'm stronger now than you will be in 10 years. So he's like, you're stronger than I was back then, but I'm stronger than you will ever be. And it's like, oh my God. So yeah, so we have Matsuo and then we have Sakurai who has the sword, right? The sword. And then we had the pyrotechnic. So the pyrotechnic. Okay, so the ones, I'm going to keep the ones that are still around. The pyrotechnic is out. He's out of the game. And then Mukai is pretty much out of the game. And so is Tsuyachi. I'll get her name right. She's out of the game. And Kamoya, is that right? He's out of the game. So 4 of them are done. Right? But then, so Sakurai takes on Teru. And unfortunately, he gets knocked out by the guy that can make copies, which sucks. Poor Teru. He just got out. He got double played, right? He got outnumbered. And so then Mob with where he's like, oh, hello, good evening, talking to the dolls. Our little innocent Mob, where he's just like, hello, good evening. Can you tell me where my brother is? He's like, I'm looking for my younger brother. Apparently, he's hiding somewhere in the building. I'm like, Mob is like just trying to find Ritsu and these dolls surround him. And he's like, sorry. But yeah, man, Mukai. And so, Suchi. Yep. She says Tsuchiya. There we go. Yep, Tsuchiya. That was her name. God, that whole thing with Reigen. We'll talk about that. So Mukai's whole thing is that as soon as she went off to go see the dolls, I'm like, oh girl, Mob is not going to have time for you. And so then, and I like that we have this little heartfelt moment with Tsuchiya and Mukai, where she's like, that's the puppet master. Like, that's quite the ability she's got. It's like she controls all these immortal dolls. Good for her. So proud of her. It's like, what? It's like, look at her. So excited over finding a new toy. She's like a big sister, right? I don't want to get on her bad side. But meanwhile, so Rei and Hoshino and Ritsu and all them are trying to get out and face everybody. And then suddenly, they get past all of the small fry, and then Sho shows up. Like, the temp. So yeah, the temp Sho. Who is actually freakishly strong. Okay. I'm so curious why he's there. Like, what is Sho's deal? And if y'all are going to ship Teru Mob, I ain't going to disagree with you, but can I ship Ritsu Sho? Can I ship Ritsu Sho? Can I ship him with this blue-eyed ginger? Why not? He looks kind of terrifying. He's like, I just want to be friends. And everybody's like, oh no. But yeah, I love that Ritsu he has the blue and purple energy radiating off of him. And then we cut back to Sho, and Sho has like the orange and reds, kind of like Teru. So it's like Teru Mob, Ritsu Sho. Can I ship them? We'll see next episode. And he's like, I'm going to use you as bait to beat him. And then Mukai's back and she has the dolls destroyed. But yeah, Mob was like, I don't have time to mess with these dolls. Like, get out. And she's like, he really is a kid. And then Mob's like, are you Violet 2 old lady? So he's calling her old lady. Oh my God. Oh yeah. And then the marble man. So he was taken out, right? The one with the middle finger whips. He was taken out. So the 5th one was out. Okay. We got that. And then she's like, excuse me, who are you calling old? Oh my God. But Mob like tries to push her back. And, like, the destruction and everything, like, she gets more powerful, like, the more she fights, she can concentrate all that power into her limbs. And I'm sorry, but I know that Mob's probably not hurt, but she punches the shit out of him. He was bleeding. Like, she punched the tar out of him. How is he still standing? I know he has some power to protect himself, but he was bleeding everywhere. Oh, I felt so bad for Mob. Anytime Mob gets, like, beat up and there's, like, blood spilled, I'm like, leave Mob alone. He's a precious cinnamon bun. He did nothing. I'm just like, what? I do love the computer screens for these characters are big eyeballs. Is like all the computer screens. I like that. So, the boss says if she happens to lose, then Takeuchi. Okay, so Takeuchi is also beaten, right? Takeuchi. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6. And then there was a 7th that was B2. And that was when they gave illusions. So yeah, 7 of the 11. So the ones left are Matsuo, Sakurai, and also the leader, which is Ichiguro, right? Is also the leader is saved. Okay, and then there was one more. Who was the other one that was still safe? Oh yeah, and then the one that can make copies. Okay. So yeah, there's only 4 left that can do anything. And we don't know what the leader can do. We don't have any idea what his power is. But Mob just doesn't want to fight her with his fists. He just tries to repel her back, right? And she keeps kicking him and, like, beating him up. And, God, it's so awful. But Mob's just, like, you can tell he's tired. And when she punches, she's like, it's not having much effect. Is his key guard really thick? And it's like, yeah, no, he's good at defense. Mob knows how to defend himself. But she's like, he didn't even have to build up anything. He's just that strong. And Mob, like, just taking all these punches. And she keeps defending. And she's like, your phone's ringing. So Reigen, I'm pretty sure, was trying to call him. And he wouldn't answer his phone. So Reigen's like, I'm going to track this kid down. Figure out where he is. And then she doesn't finish him off. But instead she asks, she's like, why are you crying? And Mob, oh, he's like, why do I have to beat up a lady too? Oh, he didn't want to beat up a kid. He didn't want to beat up a lady. And his little eyes and everything. And she's like, what? And, oh. And when he says, she's like, what did you say? He said, my master said that guys who hit women are the biggest losers in the world. Okay. Okay. Sorry. You dropped this king? Oh. Reigen! Just telling Mom not to hit ladies. And, like, her face, even her eyes, she's like, oh. Like, I'm gonna be really sad if Mob finds out that Reigen is the leader of this organization. Because I'm gonna be like, that's gonna shatter his view of Reigen. And I'm like, no, that's his mentor. No. I'm like, Mob's learned so much from Reigen. I don't want Mob to think that it was all a lie. Because Reigen's gave him such good advice. But then she like seems like taken aback by what he said. And she's like, you're quite the gentleman, but that's an insult. And he just looks at her. And she's like, I want to fight you fair and square. Don't hold back and come at me. Which is kind of like a cool sentiment. Like, she's like, hey, your master's quite a gentleman, but don't insult me. You fight me like a man. And then he just completely destroys her. But Reigen, oh, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of Mob is going to find out that Reigen is not who he's been saying he was, and then he's going to think he's a liar. And it's like, no, Reigen's been giving you good advice. It's like, meanwhile, Dimple's getting chased by these monsters. And so we find out that basically Matsuo is a Pokemon trainer. He's been a monster catcher, monster rancher. He's been collecting them all. He made evil spirits into his obedient pets. And yeah, I just like, it's so great. Like, I love the designs of the ghosts. It's really fun. He's like, why don't you run away in your spiritual form? I'm pretty much convinced that, yeah, once he's in his spirit form, he can catch him and put him in the jar, right? I do like, there's something kind of odd the way that Matsuo is drawn. Like, it's not handsome, but like, his features are very stark and defined. It's very weird. Like, his design's really cool. Other than the Real Monsters lips. Those are a bit freaky. And this one takes off his ear and everything. And Dimple makes note that the body he's in is not going to last long against monsters. And there's just something creepy about it, right? He's like, my body won't hold up much longer. Only third-rate spirits would let the body they possessed be damaged. I feel like there's some comparison there between Reigen and Dimple in that Reigen is like, you know, only a loser would do this. A real man doesn't do this. And I feel like Dimple kind of has a similar mentality where he's like, only a third-rate spirit would let the body they possess get damaged. It's like, so there's a little bit of honor there, right? That you keep the body safe. The body is a temple, right? And so you have to keep it safe. So I do like that. He's like, but I don't have as much power as a spirit. And I love that he convinces, I love that the way that they draw Matsuo, where he's like, what are you doing? Like, just like his open eyes, like what? He's drawn so neat, right? And then Dimple runs past and traps. Dimple's smart. He traps the ghosts in the doorway. And if those had been the only ghosts that Matsuo had in his possession, it would have worked. But darn the luck, that wasn't all he had. Who said I only had 2 evil spirits. And Dimple's like, well, shit. Dang it, there's nowhere to run. And then all of these spirits. That one spirit, like, has boobs and a mouth on its stomach. Mangaka, what are we doing? And it's done in the same, like, watercolor on glass. So Tsuchiya was defeated. Takeuchi sent out. And then Teru's like, you might as well just run. It's not going to work. And Teru's like, yeah, I think you should all hurry up and run away. And they're like, why? Because I know Kageyama-kun. He's like, oh, it's impossible to take over the world with psychic powers. Why don't you use this opportunity to wake up from your dream? Ah, so you won against Miyagawa. So, okay. Miyagawa was the pyrotechnic. Okay. So yeah, Teru's whole deal is that he's like, Teru's at his lowest point by the end of this episode because he's convinced himself. He's like, well, I had this dream of being at the top of the world with my psychic powers, and Mob showed me that that was folly and that wasn't a good dream. But by the end of this episode, Teru's like, well, the person that taught me this new life philosophy is now helpless. So where does that leave me, right? Ritsu is, we'll get to Ritsu here in a second. We'll cut Ritsu on here. But yeah, Teru is just like, well, what do we do? And so Mob's like, I like that we cut back from Mob. He's like, as long as you just believe that, you'll never be able to defeat him. And then I like that Mob, he looks at Takeuchi and he's like, I know you were trying to do something, but I'm really sorry. He's like, I'm in a hurry right now. I was like, oh my God. I thought he said I was too strong, but I guess that was not it. And so then that's when he sees Ritsu, and it was all bait. Ritsu was planted there so that Mob would find him. And Sho would take advantage of him. And yeah, Ritsu just dropped there. And then Mob, oh, his little eyes. He's like, is that Ritsu? Oh, that sweet bean. I don't like seeing Mob with the little wobbly eyes. It's so sad. He's like, why? And then yeah, he manages to run to him. He's like, he's still breathing. Oh, and he just collapses. Like, he just dramatically collapses. And Mob's like, but why? He's like, why does Ritsu have to go through this? My little brother. Oh. And he's like, it's unforgivable. And like immediately drops. He was at like 84%, and now he jumps up to like 92. And then this creepy mofo comes around the corner with the chin. Like, he's like, what's this situation? And Mob, it's like, as soon as you see Mob not saying anything, it's like, you probably need to get away. Oh no. And he's like going to use his powers to make Mob have the illusion of Ritsu like being killed. So yeah, it's really creepy. And then Mob, like making him all distorted and like pushing back the power against him. The animation just decided like, let's just go crazy now, right? And so he sees Ritsu like take the place of when he was younger to now. Oh my God. And like just it teeters back between 98 and 99%. He's like, this isn't real. And then yeah, we see like the monster, right? And then Ritsu pops and we see rejection. So Ritsu, to be fair though, Ritsu did tell those other kids to escape. He got Hoshino and the others out. So Ritsu did his part as a leader, right? Ritsu, he lost to Sho. He's unconscious. Mob experiences rejection, which that's a very weird rejection. We've had sadness and we've had rage. And now we have rejection, and he's powered down. The rejection one is interesting because it's like, I guess Mob's like, why is Ritsu suffering? And why did my brother end up all by himself? Like, he rejected me as his brother, like asking for help. He's like, I feel like it's a manifestation maybe of the rejection part is. And I know y'all will comment down below too. And I'm looking forward to it, of your explanation for the rejection as well. But it's interesting because it makes me feel like maybe the rejection is referring to like, it's just this manifestation of all of Mob's feelings leading up to his brother, like not talking to him, not telling him about his feelings, about not having psychic powers, then getting the psychic powers and still not telling him, to like wanting to fight him, to like turning him away from being brothers. Like, I feel like that's the rejection, and it's all built up, and it's reached its climax because Mob couldn't protect Teru. He couldn't protect Ritsu. And that caused him to like just completely like he wallops that upper echelon to the point where he just spins around and leaks, I'm hoping that's tears, leaks tears out and just collapses, right? And then poor Mob. And Teru's like, well, shit. And so then Sho is like, well, it was all part of my plan. He's like, I don't know if that was Mob's natural instinct or if it was just part of his plan, but he's like, he amplified the illusion Mudo showed him and reversed it. So Mudo was the other one. Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure if it was planned or just his natural instincts. He's like, he's pretty interesting too. So yeah, Sho just seems like he's just came there for like a job shadowing thing. And he's like, I like these Kageyama boys. They're pretty cool. I feel like Sho and Teru are two sides of the coin. That's going to be interesting, right? Because he's like, he was totally worth using his brother as bait. They're great brothers. So I feel like Sho and Teru are going to be total opposites, like two sides of the same coin, because both Sho and Teru have excellent fashion taste. So there's that. But they also have an affinity for the Kageyama brothers. So there's that. But also, Teru and Sho are really strong, and I don't know if Sho is like on board with taking over the world with his psychic powers, but maybe I'm curious to see what his motivations are. Like, I would like if him and Teru were like two sides of the same coin. If that happened, that'd be pretty cool. So I'm going to be very curious to see how that is portrayed in this. Like, what is that going to be like? That's going to be rather interesting, I feel. I don't know. Just thinking it could be something cool. So we'll see, right? But yeah, they say that 11 of the 11 scars, 7 have been defeated. How am I going to explain this to the boss? How did they get their scars? And Teru's like, what is going on? He's like, Kageyama-kun lost. He's like, it can't be. The guy who carried those two here, did he actually? He's like, what's up? Don't be scared. Like, he's just chilling out reading a magazine. Like, who is he? What the hell? If he's like Reigen's cousin or something, I'm going to be like, are you serious? There's no way he'd lose to someone like that. And so, yeah, it's just like, and he's supposedly one that's been awakened by headquarters. So, what? What? Just, and then, yeah, oh my God. Matsuya shows up with like the vase that has all the travel stickers on it. Like, he's been traveling the world gathering all of these ghosts. And he's like, oh yeah, I've got, he's like, one of the intruders was an evil spirit with a very strong ego. And then Teru's like, not Dimple-kun too! I love that he's called Dimple-kun. I was like, Teru has accepted Dimple into his heart. It's great. Dimple-kun. He's like, no! And he's like, this poison jar has hundreds of evil spirits thrown in. So the one that survives after they devour one another becomes the ultimate pet. Oh my God. And Dimple's like, what the hell is this place? He's like, wait, stop. No, we can talk this out. If you eat me, I have no nutritional value. Oh my God. So how are they getting out of this? And so then at the very end, I'm glad y'all told me they were in credits because, and so then Hoshino and the others are like, well, now we can call for help. And they're like, wait, it's no use. And so they get to the very end and there's like, the doors open up and there's all of the other lackeys there. I'm like, what is this? And they're all like, did someone important show up? What? And then they feel this aura. The heinous aura. Mastermind. Even I can feel it. Oh my God. An insanely powerful Esper. But no, there's no way, right? How? But Reigen Dipple didn't sense any power. And he supposedly, did he lie? What? Was he awakened? What? What is happening? And like, no, it can't be. The only possibility is, could he be the organization's leader? But how? Unless it's all a big misdirect, unless it's all a big red herring and those kids are just like assuming that he's the leader and he's not, but what? What? I'm just floored. So yeah, so we have 2 episodes left of this season. No big deal. Just 2 episodes left. And yeah, I'm so floored. Because yeah, we have 2 episodes left and our main 4 are at the lowest of the lows. And who comes in to pick them all back up but Reigen Arataka? If he's the leader of Claw and he's been an Esper this whole time, what? But how does he have the aura? That's the thing. They say he has this crazy aura. Is he just mad because he knows Mob's in danger? What? And why did one draw him so good? That shock drawing him at the end looks so good. I'm not gonna wait. So hopefully I'll have a Reigen Thirst update. Don't worry. That's still gonna happen. Because I know in the Discord, like even if it's within the next 24 hours, we'll have some Reigen art. We'll have a thirsty update. But I just may not have any comments to talk about because I'm probably gonna watch this tomorrow, episode 11. Because I have to know. I have to know what the hell is going on. I'm glad I chose this as my Halloween costume. So yeah, I'm pretty excited, y'all. Obviously, I want to know your comments down below. Since I am watching ahead, I'll get to them. Don't worry. And if anything stands out, we still have seasons 2 and season 3 to watch. So I can carry comments over to season 2. It's fine. But yeah, next week is the penultimate episode of season 1. Holy cow. So we're going to do that. But yeah, I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. Please, no spoilers. Even though y'all know I'm going to watch the next episode soon. No spoilers, please. We'll save that discussion for episode 11. But in the meantime, I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Happy Halloween. Please stay safe. Take care. And yeah, I'll be back very soon with more Mob Psycho. Bye.